It's Radiodays here in Vienna, and two of the stars of the show, you never know who you're going to see here. Ed Miliband, what brings you to a radio conference?
Yeah, I'm asking myself the same question.
Explain.
Well, I do this podcast with my co-host Geoff Llyod called Reasons to be Cheerful, which is about big ideas that can make the country better.
Okay.
And so we came to talk about that.
So the Labour Party was all about big ideas as well and making the country better, the UK better. So with the podcast, is it ideas to make your country better?
Mainly focused on the UK.
Okay.
But it's sort of everything from the universal basic income to solving homelessness to what we do about drugs to a whole host of things. And it's sort of trying to present big ideas in an accessible way.
Now, your background in radio, I know you filled in for Jeremy Vine on Radio 2, and you really love that.
I did love it, yeah. And in a way, I think that it was Geoff's idea, the Reasons to be Cheerful, but I think it convinced me that there is a place for something which mixes the serious and the light-hearted and does serious subjects in an entertaining way.
But growing up, did you have an ambition to be on air? Were you in pirate radio?
Well, I was on LBC as a 14 and 15-year-old doing a program called Young London with Clive Bull about reviewing theatre, film, music. So I have a sort of a long ago history of.
So you're a bit of an anorak.
A bit of an anorak.
Yeah.
The tapes exist.
Yeah. Do the tapes exist, Geoff? You'd be the man to get them.
If anybody knows where those tapes are, I would love to hear them, please. Ed's very earnest film reviews as a 14-year-old Labour Party member, being very woke about things like Crocodile Dundee.
I think it might be.
And how did the two of you get together? Because you come from Absolute Radio, isn't it?
Yeah, I did. I was on Virgin Radio, which then became Absolute Radio for a long time, and Ed was on the show in the run-up to the 2015 election, and we had a blast. And then when I was leaving the radio station thinking about what I would like to do next, podcasts were part of the mix of it, and I had this idea that, God, the world is depressing at the moment with Trump and a country so divided over Brexit. Like, if you can't get excited what's going on at that level of politics, what are the good ideas out there? And I thought, I bet Ed Miliband has heard some ideas.
So where do you record it?
In my loft, yeah.
In your loft?
Yeah. And the reason we do it in my loft is I was explaining to Ed that in my loft bathroom I was given a Japanese toilet that is remote controlled and it washes your bum and then it blow dries afterwards. And as soon as I mentioned this, Ed's face lit up and he was saying, we've got to do it at your house.
Yeah, how was the
It
toilet?
was an important feature. I've never used the
You haven't
toilet.
used the toilet yet.
Working your way up to
Unfortunately, Geoff's son destroyed the remote control.
Okay.
But I thought it was a feature. It gives it a sort of homely feel. I mean, you wouldn't get a Japanese toilet in most radio studios.
No,
would
you wouldn't. It's more, it's
More
unique.
pity.
And how hands-on are you? Do you help to edit the podcast as well, Ed? Are you learning the ins and outs of podcasting?
Micromanaging. I'm incredibly micromanaging.
We're logging into the stats at 2 in the morning.
Okay.
Quite micromanaging.
And what have you learned about podcasting now and the world you're immersed in?
I think what I've learnt is, well, I would not class myself as an expert. I suppose the thing that's been good is that we don't just appeal to a left-wing audience. We appeal across the political spectrum. Even though I'm a Labour MP, we are deliberately try to be sort of non-partisan. And I think in a way there is a yearning.
That must be hard, though, given your background.
It's not that hard if you're talking about an idea, because the idea can appeal to people whether they're left-wing or right-wing. Now, some ideas will be more likely to appeal to people on the left, but I think what's good is that we get lots of people who are conservatives emailing in saying, look, even though I don't agree with your politics mostly, I'm a listener. And I think we try and do that. And also this thing about it being accessible. We have a comedian on pitching their ideas, how to make the world a better place. So it isn't like massively heavy, like it's going to kind of eat your spinach, and we're trying to avoid the sort of eat your spinach look.
It sounds great. I can't wait to listen. And do you find that it is hard to get? I know when you've got big names in it, it makes it a bit easier, but there are so many podcasts out there now, so many good podcasts. How difficult is it to get people's attention and to get ears listening?
I think it's easy at first because any new podcast, the iTunes chart is, who knows how they put that thing together, but it seems to favour.
Well, when it works for you, great.
Yeah. So early on, to get a number one podcast is relatively easy, and then people notice it. The difficulty is 6 months in, how do you grow it beyond that? And that's something we're still wrestling with.
And finance from it as well.
Yeah, although we're doing some live show. We never started, when we started this podcast, we didn't even consider anything other than the idea, this would be a fun thing to do. And just now we've started doing some live shows and we've signed with Acast to do some advertising. So yeah, which hopefully will then fund other ideas that we've got.
It's called Reasons to be Cheerful?
Yes.
Geoff and Ed, thank you so much.
Thank you.